Do we have intro music, or is that edited in?
Well, Joe sent us music. Should we call him out on this podcast?
How long did he say? When did he say he would send it by? Oh, he's still got some time.
Joe Morale, the Rollin' Rap, is a piano player. Like does his own music. He said he's gonna write us an intro. I also said I'd play the trumpet, so I could probably get a trumpet or something.
You've never played before?
I played it before.
Oh, okay.
But the funny story is I think I was married 11 years, and someone said something about a trumpet. I said I play the trumpet. My wife's like, you don't play the trumpet. Yeah, I do. Then they went and got it, and sure enough, I could play the trumpet.
Nice.
That's funny. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 55 of the Slightly Serious Sign podcast. This episode is voted number 1 by, Metamark.
Us.
So
Definitely.
thanks, guys, for coming. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's your whole intro. That's good. Lame as can be.
What else am I supposed to say?
We're out of touch or something, or what happened?
We haven't done this in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
For you guys, it seems like we just did it because it was, last Monday. You heard us.
Yeah, we just saw you guys.
Actually we're out of practice for a little bit. Apparently,
yeah.
That's the worst intro we've done.
That was part. I usually write notes for what I want to say in my intro, but I didn't have anything. But I did want to say, last time you guys heard me, I said this will be the last time you see us in here. And now we're here, and you're going to see us next week in here, which for you will be next week. For us, it'll be 3 hours from now. But yeah.
So now y'all know what I'm talking about. They never get anything done.
Tony didn't get the table done, so I blame Tony. Hopefully he doesn't listen.
We're here to introduce our guest.
Yeah, sure. Hey guys, thanks for coming. Hey. We appreciate it. Brian and Josh from Metamark are joining us. That's why they're voted number 1. So
yeah, thanks for having us.
We appreciate it. You guys coming out here. So do you guys want to say, you can each take a turn on this one, who you are, how long you've been in the industry, and what's your current role?
Brian Konya, Director of Sales for the U.S. for Metamark. Been in the industry for coming up on 30 years. So I'm a definite dinosaur. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's about it. So I'm
aging like a fine wine.
You're supposed to, you don't have a family. You never worked at any other place. You only ever worked at Metamark.
Put that in there. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So you work because you're now we'd have to tally it up, but we got to be double digits now for people that have come on the podcast from Advantage. So. Oh,
okay. So yes, 17 years at Advantage, out of right here in Grand Rapids, which it's always fun to come back to GR, which by the way, the Sheridan on 28th, it's very nice. So
you got a nice hotel
ever
there.
asked that.
It's good.
17 years at Advantage. Then I went to Retrama I was there for 7 years. They were purchased by a company called MacTac and stayed there for 2. And now I'm here bringing the lovely Metamark product to the U.S.
Do you think it's a problem that the first 2 companies you named don't exist here anymore?
I never really thought of that.
Okay.
Is there a theme to this? Is there a theme? Are you part of the problem?
The other ones are still around. So really it's only 2. That's not too bad.
Yeah, and I did leave Advantage before the buyout.
Oh yeah. So then it doesn't count.
So 2 years before.
Yeah. Okay.
So
you're still, but yeah. Ideally though.
So maybe that's why it happened.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, ultimately it's 50%. If you work for the company, they got a 50% shot at making it.
Yeah. So good luck over in the UK. Hopefully we're going to be okay.
However, I mean, we've seen the last 12 months. That might just be the industry track record in general.
Yeah, actually, that's probably the industry.
It might just be 50%.
Yeah, you may be 80% better than 50% of the industry.
You could be. Yeah. You could be winning compared to some other people out there.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I have a wife, 3 daughters. Oh, yeah. That's why I don't have any hair anymore. I used to. And I have 1 left still at home in high school. The other 2 are in college. Go Badgers and go Cyclones. And that's about it. That's all I got.
Where do you live now?
Milwaukee. Oh yeah, good
Milwaukee.
Call. Yep, lovely Milwaukee. Come visit.
No, thank you.
In the summer.
It's quite nice.
Yes, it actually is nice.
It's too far to drive. You're only like 8 miles from here, but way too far to drive.
Yeah.
We got to go all the way around.
I was gonna say, take the shuttle or
I should.
whatever
apparently
it's called.
Nice.
Ferry.
I've never taken it, but apparently
it's pretty cool.
Nice.
I've been on it when it's awesome. When I'm like, oh, this is great. I should bring my family. And I've been on it when it's a death trap. Yeah, it's the longest 3 hours of my life. Everybody's face is white. There's a line for the bathroom. But
a little nauseous.
Yeah, and I've probably been on it 10 times. And that's only happened once. So
that's not too bad.
No, it's a decent ratio.
And then Josh,
That's going to be hard to follow. That may have been
That's
the
true.
world's longest introduction.
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So I'm Josh Culverhouse. I've been in the industry for, I'd say right around 20 years. Worked.
Just spin it towards you.
Oh, there we go. Sorry.
Just spin it this way.
Worked at a graphics company out of Indianapolis, and
Sorry, they're bothering him over
yeah, I
there.
know
takes us-
you're
this is it. We're
distracting
good
me,
now.
guys.
We're good.
Worked in a graphics company out of Indianapolis. We focused on a lot of IndyCar and NHRA drag racing, as well as fleet work and general signage. That led me to work for a company called Orifal for roughly 16 and a half years. And did a little bit of e-commerce in there as well, and came over to Metamark here back in January after my time at Orifal. So here we are. Like Brian said, we're trying to get things booted up here in the United States for these guys. But I live in Indianapolis, by the way, where the greatest spectacle in racing occurs every year. If you guys aren't familiar, that's called the Indianapolis 500.
I've heard about it.
It's real racing.
I haven't gone.
Open wheel.
Open wheel
Yeah,
racing.
Yeah.
And family?
Family. Yeah, I've got 2 dogs, and I've got 2 daughters and a son and a beautiful wife.
Okay, wait.
I
Wait.
agree. The order was a little
The
weird.
order was a little bit weird.
but I relate.
If you
I did that on purpose. Yes.
introduce his dog before his kids and his wife.
It was an order of favorites. Yeah.
Oh, I can see.
That makes me feel bad. I have a dog too.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, Luna.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you at least introduced yours last. He's like, "Yeah, I got a couple dogs, and I got this other, and these other humans that live with me."
It was the pause that made it questionable. I wouldn't have said anything except I got 2 dogs, and then he waited and said, "Also."
Totally on purpose.
That was awesome.
We've got some deer and skunk and possum running around the farm as well, so that's always good.
Yeah.
So we've been working to get Doug wants to come on the podcast, and I just keep finding more and more people that at some point work for Doug. It's like the Advantage situation all over again.
Yeah, Square One
Like,
Graphics.
yeah, we used to work with
Yeah.
Doug. Be like, how does everybody know? The
Doug
same
Schulte
people?
is a legend. That's for sure.
He's been around a while.
He is responsible for a lot of successful careers in this industry.
So eventually he'll come on, and you'll hear his whole story, which I'm sure is crazy. So
Pretty fantastic, actually. Yeah.
but yeah, we'll have him on eventually. He said he wants to come on. I just have to drive down there and schedule it. So, well, perfect. Yeah. Thanks for coming on, guys. So do you guys want to just cover, so obviously,
Can we talk about how we got to know each other too?
yeah, sure.
Okay. So first of all, me and Brian, did we share this story on the podcast before? Did we share it after NASSD?
You gave a brief summary at NASD. Well, at least he's here to
There was a show
validate it.
where Brian and I were at together, SEMA show, right?
Yep.
And then from there we had to go to an NASSD meeting. One was in Vegas, one was in what town? were we in? Monterey. And I had the great idea, like, man, I've never seen Death Valley. I want to drive through it. Brian's like, hey, I'll go with you. Like, one, I don't think he knew what he's getting into, but we did go through Death Valley, kind of without a map, but we did have 1 egg, 1 hard-boiled egg, half a bottle of water, and a bag of Sun Chips, and we lived.
Well, it wasn't just Death Valley. We went through
we went
Yosemite too, right? Was it Yosemite?
Yeah, because this is how smart we are. We went through Death Valley without a map. We got out of Death Valley. Oh, sweet. We had to get gas right away. Paid a fortune for it. Because I guess you're supposed to fill it before you go in there because there's no gas stations.
Good call.
I mean, we didn't do much research. And then we left there and we drive down and then we went through, what was the other park we went through?
I think it was Yosemite. I could be wrong.
Yosemite,
but that's my
whatever
guess.
the other park was. So what do you think we did? We just drove into the next park without a map again. No cell service, no nothing. So we screwed up in the beginning of the day. We decided, hey, we're going to do it again. And it was relatively sketchy at the end of the night, going down the hill in the dark, kept seeing signs, don't hit bears. And at that point, we were just ready to get to the hotel. So the car might have been going a little faster than it should be down the hill through the curves in the dark. But
I was 12, 13 hours into it when it started getting dark and the GPS did not work. So GPS does not work in the mountains, people.
Yeah, so it was fun.
It's good to know.
Yeah.
But Josh and I worked out this morning.
Yes.
Did you guys actually?
We have been trying to, even before like we didn't do business together, we've been trying to like, hey, we gotta.
Yeah, the last 3 or 4 years we've been talking about this workout date.
So I called him last night. I said, hey, we go to the gym at 5. He's like, 5? Well, that's what I do. So he showed up though. And we did arms today. And we'll probably both be sore, but he's a CrossFit guy. I'm a...
You guys...
What would you classify me? I'm a gym bro.
Yeah, you bro sesh.
I bro sesh.
Curls and mirrors.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Curls for the girls.
Yep. So yeah, it was a good time. And he's pretty strong. So
you guys went to the judgment-free zone?
yeah, we weren't judging.
The Alpine one?
There's no such thing as, it's judgment-free zone. Come on. Just pick what are you here for? Like,
I won't.
how many times I've tell Nate, hey, you're here to pick the weight up, pick it up. Cause
Yeah.
So, but
I've
yeah,
also never seen that alarm go off.
I just had it go off.
The only
just
time I've
recently.
seen it go off was a joke. The guy said, I've been slamming weights the whole time I'm here. Nobody set the alarm off. Then the girl set off the alarm. And that was the only time I ever heard it go off.
I've had a couple.
What's this infamous alarm?
So like if you're like grunting or you're slamming the weights,
They
like,
call it a lunk alarm.
it's more like
Somebody
show
mentioned
than
that
it
to me
is. But
today and didn't know what they were talking about.
Yeah, it's more just show. It's once in a while you'll get someone in there that's usually they're my age and they think they're in shape and they're and they're letting it slam, like they're doing the rows and let it slam every time.
Yeah.
Like so, and then they'll turn it off and sometimes they ask them to leave too.
Nice.
I like that. I like that idea. I like that whole concept.
Yeah.
I think the whole concept behind Planet Fitness, I could be wrong, is they don't want people like me. They don't want people that are coming in lifting weights every single
Every
day.
day.
Yeah.
They want the soccer mom that's going to come in maybe once a month or not at all, sit there and drink coffee. Like they're
That's
not,
all right.
That's why they don't want the people that are going to come and use the weights in the gym and the arms. I mean, you saw the machine I like. You seen it's all ripped. You know how many times I use it every time I'm there. Like now it's all ripped. So
well, our friend Joe Solis down in Houston, Texas, goes to Crunch Fitness. That's becoming a thing now.
we just got one.
Yeah.
I haven't been in there yet. Kayla keeps trying to get me to go in there, and it's my nephew.
Nice.
So I heard it's nice too. But right now I'm still Planet Fitness. Hopefully they change their hours though, because I can't stand that. Mondays are always super busy because they open at 5. So everybody that usually comes at 4 comes at 5.
Yeah.
And it sucks.
The Plainfield one's the same, so it's weird. But
Good stuff.
anyways, enough about us.
We lifted a
You
plenty
guys
of
are
weights.
here you guys lifted some weights.
And then you weren't there again.
You didn't even invite me.
Well, you're always invited.
I did invite Brian, just FYI.
I went to the hotel. I did do a workout.
No.
I did
Listen, what's our rule, Josh? If you don't put the pin in the bottom, you're just doing aerobics.
Right. Yeah.
So if you're I do it for reps. No, that's aerobics. That ain't weightlifting.
I put my body pump video on
I don't
YouTube.
think that's how CrossFit works. I don't think it's the same mentality.
I said we're gonna meet up. We're gonna do some CrossFit.
Yeah.
We're gonna have some fun. I'm probably gonna get hurt, but it'll be worth it.
I saw those pull-ups. I just can't get over the
My
pull-ups.
CrossFit mates will tell you, they'll all tell you I don't do the 5 a.m. class. So you're going to have to do it a little later.
No problem. I got to practice those swinging pull-ups or whatever. What are they called?
Kipping pull-ups.
Kipping pull-ups?
Yeah.
I'm gonna start practicing those this week.
Good luck. That sounds horrible.
I'll probably slip my hands off and cramp and fall.
Yeah, you probably
couple
will
of
just
times.
fly into the bar.
I'll video.
Sounds good.
All right, let's get. We got to talk about Metamark.
So Metamark, if you're listening and don't know who they are, you're probably in the United States, at least, it's probably a pretty common thing you guys are running into. Something we literally just brought on, we're just showing you guys the rolls showed up today. So when we're recording this, you're going to hear this a few weeks ago or from now, but all the stuff just showed up here. So obviously it's new to us as well. So do you guys just want to explain kind of who is Metamark, and a general overview of what they carry?
Yeah. So Metamark started in the UK out of Lancaster, so the northwest corner there. And we've been around for 32 years. And they are one of the leaders in Europe in terms of graphic marking films, digital print medias. And they've done well in Canada. They've done well in Latin America, here in the Americas. And but they've never really taken a chance or a big bite out of trying to get going in the U.S. 12 months ago, they decided they're going to start investing in an infrastructure here in the United States. And they found Brian and I to come kind of head it up and start to get it going. But I think, it's an exciting product line. I'm finding every day more and more opportunities that I think would do really well here in the States. What am I missing, Brian?
No, I mean, basically, you've hit the nail on the head. The thing that I really like about Metamark and what attracted me to Metamark is we have a full line. We have something for everyone, from banner, material, all the way through cast. And it's a great company, great people. But no, I think, it's, and we're not another vinyl company either, which we'll get into later. We have materials that other people don't. So that's the exciting part.
Yeah, there are some differentiators for sure.
Yeah. So the main thing I wanted what I want to talk about, you guys talk about leaders in the UK. So there's new vinyl all the time, right? We've talked about this 100 times, right? And a lot of times this new vinyl is vinyl that already exists here, just coming in from China, rebranded under a new name, right?
Right.
This happens all the time, especially on which you guys sell it to, like a cast, like color change wrap film, right? Every day there's a new one, right? I hear, hey, have you guys tried enter 2 random words together, company name?
Yep.
Yeah.
So what we're saying is this is not a new product by any means at this point.
No.
It's all products that have been around a decent while now and are working.
Yeah, the entire portfolio for Metamark has been curated over the last 32 years. Obviously, they started somewhere, and here we are today with architectural resurfacing films, your general plotter films, vehicle wrap films, and everything in between. And again, that just doesn't happen overnight, but it's also not easy where you can just push the easy button and go import it from, X country that makes cheap vinyl. This is all literally made, in the UK or within Europe.
Yeah, we manufacture it. We cast our own vinyl. So that's important.
The other helpful part with that too is obviously in the next 3-4 months or so, we're going to start seeing these price increases coming from a lot of these vinyls that are being imported. I mean, it seems unlikely the UK would be included at this point. So we're saying that's where it's going to be coming from. That's where it's made. So I don't think we're going to see any big changes. So if you're looking at it on our website now and you're going to look at it again in 3 months, we're hoping it's going to be pretty similar. I can't say the same for all the other vinyls that we have out there, but that's something to be aware of, that it is coming from Europe. It isn't coming from Asia or even shoot Mexico and Canada run into that too. So yeah, that's something to be aware of as well. But so where do you think Metamark kind of fits with, like you had said earlier, there's a lot of options out there for vinyl currently. I mean, shoot, you walk through our warehouse, how many are out there? Where do you think it kind of fits with all the other options out there?
Okay. So I think, one of the key aspects for Metamark over in Europe has been that a majority of their business has been fleet, honestly. And when I say fleet, anything from your cut lettering applied to the side of a tractor trailer or, your traditional vehicle wraps on a cargo van. Which, coming over here to the United States, that's, there are obviously some big players in that space already, and it is a crowded field for sure. But what Brian was saying is we have some products that aren't currently on the market that differentiate us in that vehicle wrap space specifically. What we call our cylindered cast. And it's kind of a step above, I would say, some of the flat box truck type applications out there. But it's more dimensionally stable. It's better versed for that specific application. But we also know that a lot of vehicle wrap films are used where they shouldn't be when you're, talking wall wraps and things like that. So it's a bit overkill. So you can get some significant cost savings with a cylindered cast versus going a premium cast on a flat box truck with rivets. So that's one specific niche where I think we can really penetrate the market, give a better product at a fair price point, and not kill flies with bazookas when you can just use a fly swatter.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's both in color change and digital print.
Yeah.
The cylinder cast, which there's really no one out there with it no one else out there with it. So.
Yeah. I mean, you're running into situations where the gap between some of the cast options out there and then the next option is a huge gap, right? Where it's like, okay, I really would like to use cast, but the price difference is so big that we're just taking the lower one and either installing it poorly or doing a I don't know what word to use, but shortcuts to make it so that it will work, right? And it may not fail, but it's not exactly what the customer would have wanted. You're just like, hey, we can get away with this and it will pass. So having something in the middle there might be what people are looking for a lot of times. I mean, even on, you said box trucks, but what we've talked to a lot of customers about too is even Sprinter vans. Mm-hmm. Most of the work people are doing with vans is flat work, right? You think about it as rounded because it's a vehicle, but a lot of it is straight up flat work. You're not doing the bumpers, you're doing the sides. If you're not doing the channels, like there's really not a whole lot of curvature to it.
Right.
So there's a lot of times you can get away with a cheaper alternative there and you don't need to be as long as the features are there. So,
I'd recommend definitely link in with us because we, every day our marketing team's putting up another vehicle that we've wrapped with our material, or vans and stuff. So
yeah, we do have a rich history in automotive and testimonials to back it. So again, to your point, we're not a fly-by-night company that just imports product from we'll say low-end third-party manufacturers, to be nice. It's truly a passion of Metamark to produce the right product for the right application. And if you investigate our portfolio a bit, you'll notice that, even within the economy series or intermediate series or high performance series or into our premium cast, you'll see different adhesive formulations that bridge the gap, in terms of like, you have one face film and you can get a high tack, you can get a removable, you can get an Aerograss, you can get a blockout adhesive or a clear adhesive or a clear material. And you're using that same profile, but you have all the different adhesive flavors that you need to complete a majority of the work you're completing. And that way your print consistency is always there, because the face film never changes if you're staying within that specific series. It's pretty neat.
So for us, I'll be a little off on this, but we're bringing the stuff that we stocked today that I saw come in is really about, how do I say it? I was going to say 5 SKUs, but that's not the right word. 5 product categories, basically, let's say. And then what you just said were the different varieties. So if somebody comes they go onto Wensco.com, they look up Metamark and they pull it up and they're like, none of these codes mean anything to me. Can you kind of just explain those products?
Tater wanted to hear this part, so we'll have to send it to him earlier.
This to the warehouse crew, so when they're looking at the
He's
product
already
codes.
been yelling at me, like, this is only one letter. I'm like, do you need me to make you a chart? Because I'll put the alphabet up on the wall.
So yeah, if you want to just kind of explain, at least right now, what kind of those are.
You want me to lead?
You can lead on this
All
one.
right. So in terms
Brian
of
doesn't even know.
No, he does. He does.
I do, but I don't know how to explain it, really,
So no, I think you'll actually do a better job than me, but if I get long-winded, give me a knee.
I'll step in.
No, it's in all seriousness though, in terms of if you go to venture on the Wensco.com and you see the new Metamark landing page with all the SKUs there, you're going to see a mix of our M7 series. That is a pure polymeric high performance plotter film. So there's really nothing else in the States like it. Everything else is more of intermediate, and then you jump all the way up to cast. So you're looking at an 8-year product, in black and white, 7 years on the colors, 5 years on the metallics, in the northern part of the United States. So that's a differentiator right there compared to other plotter films on the market in that calendared class. And then you're going to jump in and you're going to see the MD5 series.
Also in that M7, the etch series.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So
very important.
Yeah.
Very good.
So within that series, we do have a pure polymeric etch glass effect film as well. And we have different variations of opacity and subtle like effects, dusted type effects or etched effects. We have removable versions as well as Aerograss versions. We have an M4 series in that as well, which is short term. So you've got quite a variety for architectural glass applications that is all printable as well.
Yeah, with the etch glass, something I want to add into that is oftentimes what you actually need is you would actually prefer to have a calendared film. The reason most people are stepping up to cast isn't because they need the features of cast, is because it usually installs a little easier, is why people are using it.
Yeah.
But they don't need any of the, most of this is interior work, right? It's not like we're getting shrinking and expanding on it. A lot of times we only need a calendared film. It's just so much easier to install. That's the main selling point of calendared etched.
As a general rule, windows are flat. So
yeah. Yeah, and even that.
Great advice, Brian.
Great
you
advice.
know what? That's why you're on the podcast.
Exactly.
Right.
So I'm out of here.
I appreciate you.
That's actually going to be the whole clip. We're going to post that clip. And
Windows
Windows are flat.
As a general rule now, like
As a general rule
on cruise ships and stuff, they're rounded.
Well, I think too, like from an education standpoint, the industry really, some people do their homework. There's a lot of folks that know what they're talking about, but you also see a lot of bad information being spread on social media, different sign and wrap forums. And, when somebody hears calendared film, they just assume that it's cheap and it's going to fall apart and crack and shrink. Right. Well, there's multiple grades of calendared film. And so your short-term monomeric, that's your down and dirty. A lot of people call it their house vinyl for just stickers, right? Or core signs. And then you have at the high end, your polymeric, which is your premium or high performance. That's more, you can actually use that on subtle curves over rivets, and you might get a little bit of tenting on a rivet head, but it's not going to be catastrophic where it's shredding, in the wind. But it's very dimensionally stable. It's not going to shrink. But you have to do your homework. You have to look at these tech sheets. You have to ask your reps, and you need to know what you're using. But then you have the blend of the two, which is called an intermediate film, a blend between the monomeric and the polymeric. I'm getting very nerdy here, and I apologize, but I feel like it's important.
We've talked a lot about it. They're starting to realize that I think we're educating a lot of customers on that.
We should do a whole episode on
Yeah, I have a ton of food analogies to help with this as well.
It's essentially we're essentially down to 6 versions of vinyl now.
Yeah.
It's 2 and 2, and then the blended versions of them.
Right.
That's basically what we're getting into.
But in terms of longevity though, and stability, those polymeric films, the recipes that they use are very similar to the casting recipes. And a lot of people just think that it comes down to cast is, just king, like it has all the UV benefits, etc. Casting is just the process of making the film. So you can plug in all those UV inhibitors and all the other raw components that make the film. You can use a lot of the same recipe that when you're constructing a cast film as you can in a polymeric. And you can get pretty thin as well. So, I think we've steered way off of your question here, but I think this was beneficial.
Oh, you're good.
So
that's how all of ours go.
Yeah,
that's okay.
No, and I just want one thing: the cylindered cast. It's a 2 mil.
Yeah.
So
the printable cylindered cast we have is 2 mils thick. So even the laminate's technically 1.9, but we'll round up to 2 for good measure. But so you have a total of 4 mil construction on your printed laminated graphics in our cylindered cast film. And like we were saying earlier, a lot of people are cutting out channels anyway on sprinters and transits, but it will totally adequately handle those recessed faux window knockouts.
Yeah,
with ease.
Something that you kind of breezed over to when you were talking about the M7 series earlier is that it's an 8-year calendared film.
Yeah.
So, to give you an idea, we sell cast film that has a 7-year warranty on it.
Right.
So to give you an idea in terms of what we're talking about here, it's a calendared film, which means the price is going to be closer to that.
Right.
Has features better than some of the cast products that we have out there.
Correct.
And that just comes down to the construction, basically.
Yeah, the chemical recipe. Right. Exactly. It's the chemistry.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So M7 is M7 and M4. M4 is the step below M7, correct, on that one. And that
what happened to 5 and 6 then?
To be determined, maybe in the future.
All right.
Yeah. No, but in all seriousness, a great thing to understand about the M7 Series 2 and the colors is we have, I'd say roughly 30 colors available with Aerograss. So if you needed Aerograss for those large format print and cut jobs on the side of a tractor trailer for a fleet, that's a great option. We also have a handful of colors in a high-tech adhesive. So if you're applying to rough textured cinder block brick walls or to low energy plastics, we have that high-tech grab for you as well in a number of colors.
Okay. So M4 and M7 are cut.
Very versatile. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's, but that includes everything. So etched glass, all that stuff, frosted.
Right.
And then your colors, which are available in Aerograss and high tech.
Yeah. As well as standard. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's M4 and M7. So when you're looking at it, that's what those ones are. You were looking at primarily cut with that series. And then, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong on this one. For print, we have, MDX.
Yep.
MD5 and then MD
C.
Is it C?
C.
Does it say CPR?
No, that's a different one.
Yet.
That's a different product.
Okay.
MDPR.
Okay.
Yeah. You're close. You're close.
Getting there.
Yeah.
It's all new. So
that's way more than I knew.
You, yeah.
I might not have got that. I would have got the M part.
Yeah.
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 So
Can you, explain the differences of those.
So we'll start with the MDC and the MDX. I'll lead with the MDC. You want to handle the MDX?
I can do it.
All right. So the MDC is our premium cast. So the cast construction that you're used to. Your vehicle.
Metamark Digital Cast. What it stands for?
I believe so. Yeah. Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes. Exactly.
We'll start. You just learned something new.
I know.
Yes.
I figured I would.
So good job. You correlated that well.
We just talked about this. The numbers are that's what I was telling you. The numbers and letters are arbitrary until you in your head realize what they mean. And then when you look at the paper, it's going to make sense.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Until someone explains to you, oftentimes it's I don't know what they're doing.
Or Trauma had, I don't even know, 5,000 part numbers.
Oh, yes.
Like 3-991. The only meaning of that was the order it was made.
Yes. So I like when I saw your numbers, I liked your numbers because as I know, I could start figuring out our line does another very good job of that. Like when you look at their numbers, that every letter and number stands for something.
Mm-hmm.
And once you understand that nomenclature, and Avery does too, you look at, they have a little note, what's the 1 stand for? What's the next 1 stand for? What's the 0 stand for? What's the 3 stand for?
Yeah.
Yep.
So in yours is the same, it's the same thing.
Sense.
Once it starts to make sense, which is very smart compared to some other people.
Exactly. So the MDC is paired with the MGC, which is the Metamark laminate, the cast laminate. And so you have a 4 mil combination there as well. Those are rated at 10 years a piece on the print media and the laminate in climate zone 1. So, and that's another probably podcast we could do just determining climate zones and locations and warranty durabilities. But yeah, so those of you that, prefer the premium cast and you don't want to go downstream at all, and use the right product for a lot of the different applications outside of your full contoured wrap applications, we do have you covered. And it's a very competitive price point as well. I know that's a big deal, especially these days, honestly, with prices the way they are. So it features the Meta Glide adhesive, which is our micro channel, more user-friendly installation, 360-degree air egress. So not that old school lateral air egress, easy positioning. And like I said, great conformability, printability second to none. Profiles are available on the website. So yeah, Brian, you want to cover the MDX?
Yep, MDX and MGX. I think this is the product that I talk about a lot.
Yeah.
Our cast is awesome, but again, sometimes cast is overkill, and that's where the cylinder cast comes in. You're going to get a 7-year warranty at most places, and Josh is better with the zones and all that good stuff. But it's the 2 mil. It's what we've kind of talked about already. It's good for wraps. You could go over rivets. It might tent a little bit, but nothing crazy. And I mean, this is a price
most
thing.
casts do that too.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So it's definitely a price thing. It's really the time to use it is when you don't want to use cast for overkill. So even for walls, it's a good product, and it's a 2 mil high-end polymeric.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and there's we have the matte and the gloss vinyl that goes with it.
It's about 35% less than cast material.
Say 35 to 40% less.
Yeah, so that's where it lands. So that's good to know, because obviously we're running into situations where price is kind of the main thing people are looking for, right? And there's only so far you can go on any of these premium casts. It's like, okay, I mean, we can save you some pennies, but we're at where we're at.
Yeah.
So being able to offer a different option is going to be the big change there, where it's like, hey, there's only so much we can do, right, on the products you guys are always been using, but there may be solutions where the product you're using isn't the product that you need. And I think everyone thinks, the problem we ran into is so many people were using calendared so poorly that the industry just went okay, let's go all the way to the other side, right? Like, use cast. If you're putting it on a vehicle, it's cast.
We don't put it on the wall, use cast.
Yeah.
Put it on the window, use cast.
A ton of different manufacturers had problems too, it was peeling and that kind of stuff, and the adhesive was left behind. So that'd give it a bad name too. And then everybody's like, oh, well, we got to use cast.
Yeah.
We don't mind it, because obviously, the bigger number. So. I like to sell in bigger numbers.
The thing is, I even remember my years back at Advantage, we had a private label calendared, and it was horrible. And so I think there was a lot of that out there. So people, when they think calendar, they're thinking of that kind of stuff. And people are using that at the wrong application also.
And they don't realize how far we've come either. Like before, when people came out with like calendared wrap film at the beginning, it wasn't very good, right? Like we always used to joke about the dirt border around all of the things because the shrinkage was huge, right? It wasn't made quite right for what we were advertising. They give you a
hand sample and you could see the border around the hand sample. That's how fast it
shrunk. Yeah.
And I shouldn't say the calendar was horrible. People were using it for the wrong application. Right. It would have been fine on corp when you're taking a low end calendar and putting it on a van. You know,
you guys know corp is the word we're not supposed to use in this.
Yeah, we had to beep it out twice already.
Oh, okay.
Now 3 times because you said
Don Long's our biggest.
He's our number one individual supporter.
Supporter.
He sells
laminacore. And he sells laminacore, which is corp thing. And every time we say corp, he'll
I have a comment on
right now. He's already fuming.
Yeah, he's already. This is his third comment on the video already.
So getting back on track.
We used to be about that. Name
the
too.
word he said at the beginning.
Yeah, we used to beep that one out.
We let it go now. We've grown.
Yeah,
there's gonna be a lot of bleeps in that piece. Yeah. Now you brought up
used to work at. We have no idea. Beep. We don't know what he said.
You just brought up a good point about removability. And with Metamark specifically, all of our solvent-based adhesive products feature a technology we call Apex. And so even with permanent adhesives, with the assistance of heat, we will, offer clean removability in our product line, from our wrap films to our, intermediate sign films that have solvent-based adhesives. They feature the Apex adhesive system. And like I said, with the assistance of heat on most sealed smooth surfaces, you're going to get clean removability. So you're not going to have a nightmare on your hands removing M7 plotter film from the side of a tractor trailer, as long as it's being removed within its service life. So
that's beautiful.
That's a big deal.
I think there's a lot of shops now that are doing more. I mean, obviously more people are changing them over, and people didn't used to do that before. And even we did it here. How long did we do it before I finally had to say something to Ben? Like, because we'd put that, how's my driving? It's reflective, right? Mm-hmm. We'd put it on the back of every van. And then when we get rid of our van, we had to take it off. We're like, trying to take it off. Like, why not just put a block of like cast film and then put that on the cast film?
Yeah.
And then the very next van, he grabs it, pulls it off. I'm like, removability is
right. Yeah.
Like
labor savings is just as important as the initial cost of the graphic and the application.
Yes.
Because you could technically, at the end of the life of a vehicle wrap, spend more than you spent to remove, apply it, to remove it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's not talked about enough.
Yeah.
And I think, wrap shops in general need to do, or should do a better job at communicating, like, hey, you go to the doctor once a year, you have a checkup, make sure everything's looking good. Right. And it's probably not a bad idea for customer retention, to develop that relationship and keep it going through the life of that wrap, where you're having yearly checkups on the wrap, checking in with your customer, keeping that relationship going, and hopefully get repeat business. And you can advise them, hey, it's starting to cook a little bit. Maybe it's time to start thinking about removal before it gets too bad and it becomes extremely expensive.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If you think about here, like if you hear from Domingo and he's sending you an email that says like, hey, your warranty's going to expire soon, would you like to extend it? It's not just like coincidence. It's not like you just walked in the morning and was like, I should check and see if there's any warranties expiring soon, right? There's a process for that. And we think you should have the same exact process for wraps, right? When you install a wrap and hey, in whatever your lifespan is, 36 months, right? Mm-hmm. We need to get this off the vehicle.
Yeah.
Unless they're going to keep it for the life of the vehicle, right? So there should be a process where you're like, hey, we did this wrap, right? Whatever system you're using, put it in there and say like, hey, 30 months from now, I need to check in and say like, hey, you're coming up on the 3-year line. After this, it's twice as expensive to remove it, right?
Especially the horizontal surfaces.
Do you want to keep it or do you want to peel it off?
Yeah.
And I bet you of the shops I know, I bet there's 2 or 3 that do anything even remotely close to that, much less follow up with them. So, I think that would be huge, especially on removal, because I think removal is something everyone complains about, but nobody proactively does anything to help themselves, right? They're all installing films. They know aren't going to remove easy.
Yeah.
And then they're all complaining that removal is horrible.
Or you'll hear wrap installers, and I love this one because I used to teach the classes for Orifal, and like, oh, we just don't do removals. So I'm like, well, somebody has to remove it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody's
Let's think about this.
Another shop.
Maybe save your brother down the road that has to remove it. You know, your fellow rapper.
And ultimately, the customer's probably going to pay for it, and they're going to think, well, he put that on there.
Yeah.
It's cost me a fortune to remove it. I'm not going to go back there.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, but that's one of the things that, we stress, and I think most manufacturers are stressing that in terms of like, look, it's not just the initial install that you have to worry about. You need to take care of your customer and advise them and be that kind of trail leader, if you will, through the journey of the life cycle of the wrap.
Yeah. And for whatever reason, it feels like that second tier is what I'll call it, cast film, right? Where it's not their ultra premium. It's just the one step down is always the one that feels like that feature just doesn't exist, right? Where it's like, it goes on great and everyone's like, yeah, install's fine. I don't know what the problem is. And then the removal is awful.
We'll call those value engineered wrap films.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very intentional is what it feels like. Like, well, intent.
If a user wants a less expensive wrap film, there has to be some sacrifices by the manufacturer to get them to that point. So,
especially when, like, if they don't have the option to do that second tier, right? Maybe they only can make technically a premium cast wrap. So the only thing they can sacrifice is quality of ingredients that go in there, right? That's the only way you make a cheaper one.
Yeah. Versus
like stepping down to a cylinder cast, right? It's like, hey, we're going to make all the same, but the raw components that go into this one are naturally cheaper. That's why you get a cheaper product.
Yeah. And the process to manufacture it. Yeah. Because there's less consumable byproduct because you don't have a carrier sheet to account for, things like that. That's why calendared is always less expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. So something to know. So we talked about MDX, MD5. What was the, we didn't talk about MD5.
No, we haven't.
No.
You want to start?
Basically MD5 is a high-end polymeric. And this is something that I don't really think there's a lot of competition out there for. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, there is.
But
there's some big names out there.
It's been a while since it's been in it.
I think the cylindered cast is a step up from everything else that's on the market.
Okay.
In this class.
But with all right. Well, all right. I'll just explain what it is, and then I'll tell you why I think, because it's basically one face film with 7-8 different options. So you have one profile for that same face film, which is removable, perm, blockout, clear adhesive, high tack. And that's one face film. That's our bread and butter in the UK or over in Europe.
So I see what you're saying with that in that regard.
That's what I mean. Yes.
Yeah. You're right. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
The standard
misunderstood.
Yeah. The standard high-end polymeric. Yeah. They all have one, right?
What is it?
But it's usually one option.
Gray.
Yeah.
Gray
permanent adhesive.
Gray permanent Aerograss for
and slidable sometimes.
Sometimes slidable. That's about it.
Or you can have a high-tech version.
Or a high-tech, yep.
So to simplify it, go to the website. You'll see all the different versions. But to add to your point, because I think you were asking us what the difference between the MDX and the MD5 are, because they're both polymeric films.
Yeah.
It's thickness. So the MD5 is roughly 2.75 mil.
Okay.
Or 2.5 mil.
Did he say roughly 2.75?
Yeah. Well,
2.7593.
If we want to keep going with the decimal point
placements, roughly 3.14.
14783
Roughly. I'm missing a few decimals, but
the MD5, if you're a shop and you are doing a lot of print and cut spot graphics on vehicles, MD5 is your perfect product. If you're also using a material for wall wraps to long-term signage on aluminum composite, can I say that? Mm-hmm. Okay, I just want to make sure.
Alpha panel.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. Alpha panel.
No, you can't. Yeah, you have to say alpha.
Okay,
panel,
alpha panel. ACM boards. We'll say that.
There you go.
Okay. So it's kind of a Swiss Army knife. Because you can use it for so many applications, even on an automotive surface. If you're doing, like I said, large format print and cut, which a lot of shops, that's all they want to touch. They don't want to get into the wraps. If they want to do a partial wrap, the MD5 would work. It's just a little bit thicker, a little more structure to the film, easier to handle during the install. If you like a little, like I said, a little bit more structure in the film.
So I had one customer asking me about because we had it on the web, but the product hadn't showed up yet, and they were asking about it. And so the way I was trying to explain it to them is, with all the other vinyl manufacturers, for the most part, your MDC and then MD5 is basically the equivalent of what we have everywhere else.
Right.
So where the confusion was, is they're looking at it like MDC, MDX, and comparing that to the other manufacturer's next step down, right?
Yeah.
But what I was trying to say is it's really in the middle, right? The
Right.
MD5 is basically the exact match for a lot of the step 2 or tier 2 vinyl.
We'll put out a comparison chart, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We're building that.
Because as I'm sitting here listening, I'm like, I could say the numbers.
Yeah.
Like I could say everybody else's brand numbers and say, this is what it compares to. This is what it compares to.
But that one doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But except the MDX, right?
The MDX doesn't.
The MDX is okay. That's the gap.
Yeah.
But
Like where you see this and this, that's the gap.
And
there's people that try to play in that space, but aren't very good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And naturally, the other problem is that you'll just compare the next step down, right? If you're familiar with their numbers, right? You're like, okay, premium cast, calendared premium. And you're like, well, sort of, but no, not really.
Yeah.
Right.
So it really comes down to, on those two, the MD5 and the MDX, thickness and conformability.
Yep.
But the durability is the same, 7 years. And like I said, like Brian said, they have all the different adhesive, I say flavors, but styles.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's where the part numbers will get confusing if you're looking on the web.
Yeah.
It's MD5 and then
AO something.
7 different versions of that afterwards.
But if you look at it,
AH,
Aerograss, B.
And also there's filters on the website. So whatever you're looking for, just push the button. It'll do the work for you. You don't have to do it all.
Or just order them all.
Yeah, just test all of them.
Just test all of them.
Buy one of each.
Yeah. The corresponding laminate for the MD5 is the MG 700 series. So we have in the United States currently, we'll bring over the semi or the satin version, but we have the gloss and the matte, which is the 705 and the 702.
I believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
All new part numbers.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what applications are you seeing that someone should be using MDX or MD5 or the equivalent? Where kind of do you differentiate the two?
So if you want to, and fill in, Brian, because you have some experience here too, because I think, like we were talking about earlier, you have shops that, we've all been there. We've all walked into graphic shops and we see, 20 different white vinyls sitting behind the printer. And, they all have their roll labels, whether they're
not all of them. Some of them, they don't have no idea what they are.
It's a mystery. We don't label ours.
And, you walk in and, we want to talk about, hey, how about some consolidation? Let's use some products that are, multifaceted, and help you kind of pare this down a little bit, because it could easily get out of control, right? We've all seen it. But in terms of your question, I think the MD5, for a majority of the shops out there, that is like a go-to product. It's priced very fairly against its competitors. If you're not doing vehicle wraps and you're just doing spot graphics and you're doing wall murals, you're doing window graphics, you're doing signs, and you want something that's sturdy, that's going to last and not burn up or shrink, that's the product you should consider. It's definitely a huge step up from economy calendared films that people tend to use where they shouldn't use it. And that's where we were talking about earlier, where you just see them shrinking off the sign face, they're turning brown,
cracking,
et cetera, cracking. So there's I think the MD5 specifically is for that customer out there that they do a lot of different applications. They're a general shop. They don't have a specific focus that leans towards vehicle wraps, but they'd prefer the easier, quicker installs. The MD5's the product to go with all day long there. But if you're a shop that you're kind of wavering on vehicle wrap films in terms of, the premium casts are just getting too expensive. A majority of what I do is flat still, but they're full wraps. That MDX is going to be your sweet spot, because you're going to be less expensive than the premium wrap films. It's totally fine. It's warranted. We have the Metasure warranty. And then, like I said, the MDC, the premium cast is for those, just all out, like they only will use premium cast products but you're not going to get a lot of the shade shifting from the laminates in our products. The white points are much cleaner. So I think the aesthetics will also differentiate in the Metamark product compared to some of the products that you guys currently carry. I'm not going to name names.
Yeah, it is hard. I naturally just want to be like, yeah, it's like.
Yeah, that's what I said. I'm
just,
like, I just want to say like, oh, it's this number.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
So just to recap then, so we have M7 and M4, which is all cut basically.
Yeah.
In colors and etched and frosted and a few different types there. And then MDC, premium cast, MDX, the step in between calendar and cast basically, and then MD5, which would be your premium calendar. Is that where you would put it in?
Correct.
Okay.
So that's what we have here currently. Brian and I have been kind of crafting our next, iteration of product line that we're going to advance here in the United States. So some of the more economical, everyday house vinyls into the intermediates as well, some high tech options. So we're going to have a well-rounded portfolio here very soon.
Yep. We're going to add some wall materials and some
printable wallpapers, things like that.
I mean, what's sitting in front of me is what I'm most excited about when it comes to that. Well, not most excited, but I love these new, like the tabletop stuff, the door stuff. Yeah. I think our new podcast is going to have it.
Yeah.
So our new podcast, the table will be
the Mia series.
It'll be your vinyl. I believe the door in the background will be your be your vinyl. I just love it. I mean, it's such an easy change when you're changing a door, you're changing cabinets, or you're changing a wall. We walked into a shop in Cincinnati that he did his whole wall in it, and it's just like, man, it looks so nice, and it's not wood. It's vinyl.
It feels good too.
It feels good. It touches
got a really high-end, luxurious feel to it.
Yeah, I just love it, and it's yours is very affordable.
That's what's going to be
compared to what's on the market. That is very affordable.
That's what's going to be the problem. Actually, is once we put up the door and the table, and then we're looking at the other two walls in there, we're just going to be like, you probably should get some more.
Yeah.
So it's Mia. It's our architectural film. If anyone didn't get that, and that we are bringing that in, and it's about 40% less than the popular brand that's out there. And this is a polymeric,
the only brand,
the only other brand that's out there. We all know it, but no, it's like I said, I was excited even about that other brand, and then when you guys like, wait, we have a different version of it, and then I see like the colors and stuff you have, and like to me, it's exciting because
and I think there's 46. It's going to be 46.
I think that we're launching some new colors as well. We just got an email today that some more colors are coming. More, I say colors, but more textures variations are coming.
You have some for walls.
Yeah,
so these are like 12 feet worth just to test.
Yeah, right.
Let us know.
So I got 2 walls.
The cool thing about the Mia product is it does all have AirGress. So it's very user friendly, makes that install much easier. But we've got stone, we've got wood grain, we've got metallic versions, and then some of the more trendy, architectural decor colors as well for cabinet resurfacing, things like that. So it's I think you guys are going to be stocking every color, from what I hear.
Sure. We're all
now you just said
like,
it.
What?
Yeah.
Now you just said it. So I guess we are
4 of every color.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Well,
we'll have it. We'll have it for sure. Cause I think it's something new that some of these, people that listen here that we'll get into. I think it's becoming more and more prevalent. And it's the next thing you can make money at, right?
Right. Right out of the box.
Right out of the box.
Take a knife, cut off what you need. Go to town.
I'm getting more and more calls about it.
Literally.
Yeah.
Every time I talk to you.
Right. So
I just, like I said, I can see it catching on. Like, there's always stuff that comes in and out of our market, and I'm like, that ain't going to go.
Yeah.
Right. But then when I see this, I'm like, when I first saw, I'm like, it ain't going to go. It's too expensive. Then when I saw your guys, I'm like, oh, it's going to go.
Yeah.
And the price of it has gotten so crazy that there's been other people that have already tried to bring them in, right? We've gotten probably a dozen plus samples from some company that we've never heard of before, but all of them are way too many colors and they don't stock them, right? So it's all like, hey, you can have it in 6 weeks.
That's a good point. Our stuff's in stock.
Yeah.
So that's also the benefit of a limited
palette
versus
Right.
every potential one under the sun. So
Right.
Yeah, you can't get too many colors of that. I've always said the same thing about the wrap vinyl. Okay, you got 18 greens.
Yeah.
Do you really need 18 greens? Maybe we could do 2.
Right.
No,
right.
we need
And speaking of, if you look at our MCX line,
It's perfect.
it's a good segue there, Mike.
It's perfect.
We have the perfect number of colors where they're colors that customers want. And, you can guarantee they're always going to be in stock. We don't need, like you said, 13 different greens.
and 12 blacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, black, extra black, kind of black, really black.
This one's
and
mostly
midnight
black.
And shadow black.
But I will say, like at Metamark, our product managers that, put these pallets together, they're extremely intelligent, but they're extremely creative. And, they really analyze, okay, well, what will the customer want? Like Metamark is very customer focused. And, that's the most important thing beyond excellent quality. And that's something they're really focused on over there, which I'm very pleased with so far.
And is that stuff's coming in as well then?
That is here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then is there 2 versions of that one as well?
So yeah, we have the non-slidable and then the slidable.
Okay.
So the product we're carrying is the more user-friendly slidable version. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, my other question was what other products are you guys bringing in? But I think we covered it. So.
Yeah. Well, Brian touched on additional architectural products. If you want to talk about like the wallpapers and the floor materials.
Oh yeah, we're looking at laminate that we're going to bring in, the sand.
Yeah.
And there's also some. I wish we had it's kind of hard to explain, but
Yeah.
Different textured printable, which we also a printable floor graphic, one step.
Yeah.
Printable wallpapers, different textures.
Yeah.
So the vinyl for the floor graphic is textured?
Yes.
But
so
yeah,
you
but you have a
don't need the
textured laminate. You said sand. Is that the textured laminate?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, but sand textured laminate. And then like Brian said, we have a woven printable as well as a sand printable. And then we have a one-step floor graphic that doesn't need the over laminate, but we're still also bringing in an overcoat floor texture, anti-skid textured floor laminate.
Yeah.
Say that 10 times fast.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, there's a few people that are pretty excited about that wallpaper.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's another one I've been getting asked about.
I had said this before. This is like the 10th conversation this year we've had on wallpaper. And I bet I talked about wallpaper twice, maybe at all last year. So it's kind of crazy that that specifically is coming back, where I think people were like, oh, that's old school. And now everyone's like, why did we go away from this? Like, I think
well, you have all
new
these
technology is so good.
You can customize it.
Yeah.
You can now make your own.
Well, I just moved into that farmhouse.
Yeah.
Every single wall of that farmhouse was wallpaper.
Yeah.
That's old school. And now you're seeing it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't look like the old wallpaper. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you should see some of the stuff that's up there.
I ripped out wallpaper and put wallpaper in my new house.
Any of the metallic stuff, old school, like gold metallic.
Listen,
that's what's mine.
There's shag carpet and
Gold
stuff
leaf and the wallpaper. That's awesome.
20 years ago, that's what I did. I steamed walls for
That's crazy.
weeks at a time.
That's crazy. So yeah, just 2 questions kind of to wrap up here. What should people expect? Yeah, we had a little bit of a long intro, so before we started, but I would guess we're at like 58 minutes right now.
Only person still listens Don Long.
Yeah.
Don, thanks for hanging out with us at the end. But what should we expect from Metamark in the next 3 to 5 years here in the States, at least?
Well, we'll definitely be more well-known. Otherwise, I won't be here. So since that's my job.
It wouldn't be the first company.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I think we're going to be well known, and I just think people are we're going to be known as a company with really good service. And Josh and I are kind of we're the beginning. We're here at the beginning, and we're both passionate about what we do, and we actually really care about what we do.
Yeah.
And I think that's gonna be our company. That's who we're going to be known as, because it's a top-down thing. So I just think we're going to be well known, a company that cares, and we're going to have new innovative products.
Yeah. And, we're going to be involved. And, I feel like there's a lot of, with a lot of the acquisitions happening in the industry and a lot of the cost cutting and marketing budgets and things like that, obviously, we're very bullish on the United States specifically. And, we want to be involved. We want to be present. So we'll be at ISA. We'll have a small booth in the Wrap Experience area, showcasing our film. So if you're coming to the show, please come introduce yourself. And, we might already know you. We've been around, like Brian said, we're dinosaurs, so we might already know you, but come learn a little bit more about Metamark, and you'll see where we're going, and you'll see the quality difference in our products.
So perfect. And then the last question, we've already touched on it, but just to kind of like tie this all up, what do you think sets Metamark apart from its competitors in the market?
It's a loaded question.
Well, number one, we have everything as far as what you need. Like I said before, from banner to ceramics to, all the way up the cast. I mean, there's really, if you're a distributor and you just worked with Metamark, you're pretty much not the flat stock and all that good stuff, but as far as adhesive and even beyond that, we do have something for everyone.
Yeah. The right product for the right budget for the right application. So whatever that looks like to you, 99% of the time we're going to have you covered.
That was a good tagline.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Put that as the name of the podcast. Okay. That's good. All right. Well, perfect.
With that. Yep.
Well, thanks guys. We appreciate you coming out.
Yeah, this was fun.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed something when you listened, and maybe we'll do a round 2 to fully explain the difference between all the 17 types of cast and calendared vinyl, and maybe it'll make more sense. But
what wait, are we off air?
No, we're still on, but you can.
The answer to that, ask me the question like I work for Metamark.
So that's Metamark apart from its competitors in the market.
Hello, they went and got the 2 best guys. That's how you're supposed to answer that question.
All right, thank you.
They went out and got the 2 best guys they could possibly get. That's how I like when people answer the question.
I like that. No, that's an honest answer too.
Hey, yeah. Look, they went and got the best guys. We're going to be different.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. There's room for it now, at least.
There's definitely room for it. It's definitely
companies that
timing's good
and
everything's good.
Have grown, scaled too much, or have too many people where the same relationships you had at the beginning are non-existent. And sometimes the people that started that relationship aren't even there anymore, on both sides, right? Yeah. So I think there's space in the market. We think the product line is good. If we didn't, we wouldn't have brought it on. Yeah. I mean, like Domingo's talked 1,000 times, we probably see 12 products a week, right? That someone brings in, it's like, hey, you guys should bring this in, right? So we weed through a lot before we'll bring somebody on. So just know that if we put it on our floor, we believe in the product. Otherwise, we don't have space to bring on everything. So, So that's where we're at. So, buy Metamark because it's taking up shelf space now. We had to rip down some shelves.
As of yesterday, right?
Did you guys walk back there yet?
We did.
Yeah.
That shelf
got a picture.
That shelf that those rows are on didn't exist yesterday.
These were some beautiful white boxes.
Yeah, those shelves. Yes. The shelves they took down have been up since '93.
Yeah.
Except one time they fell when we were here.
Well,
we put them back
rammed them, but
we might have ran over them one time.
I'm not saying we put in new racks though, because if you walk back there, nobody's fooled that we put up new racking there. We put up a rack that wasn't there before, but it's not new. It doesn't really look new either.
we just took it down from another place.
A little,
But it's
been around a while. So,
but we need that change. So.
Yeah. It's good. So thanks for coming on, guys. We appreciate it. Hopefully you guys learned something.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care.
We'll see you guys in the next episode. So
see ya.
Bye.
All right. See ya.